is there some sort of like network that you guys find, or do you find yourselves trying to reach out to women who are also trying to get into business or connect with them? Because I know when you're in the minority of anything, you try to, or some people will try to help and bring more people into the fold so that it's not as isolated. I wonder, do you guys have that? Do you attempt to do that and reach out to other women, or do you have female mentors who have helped you in the past?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I interned for Andi Timon like 15 years ago, and I always looked up to her as like a documentary filmmaker. And I just actually did the BYOD with her, Bring Your Own Doc, and it was just amazing. Like, yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome to have like other women that are strong, that are doing stuff, and it's like inspiring for, you know, younger female directors and stuff. So I think that like it's okay that we're, you know, being like, these are female directors trying to make it. I think that that's great because it's just pushing us forward, and you know, things will equal out more in the future.
Yeah. I only have had male mentors when I like sort of look back, which has been great also. I certainly try and bring anybody up that I can, but I'm not that far up, so I can only bring them to a certain level. Yeah. And like, you know, in this indie world, I feel very lucky because I was able to get financing for my film. I wrote my film. I hired people. You know, I was able to choose my crew and choose my cast, and so I felt very in control, and I didn't feel beholden to anyone, or that, you know, I was just able to do my own thing. There was certainly no, I didn't feel any sexism from anyone. There was no one to feel that from. In my particular level for my film. But as I go forward and take meetings with studios and networks, and I'd be very curious to see. But there is I mean, I hate to say it, but there's a trend right now, and people are like into women. Yeah. There's like, you know, Lena Dunham and Mindy Kaling, and like this is becoming very, and the part of the reason why it is becoming a trend is because they are finding that their audience is there. And I think that is sort of part of the problem, and when you talked about that earlier with the content, is that the studios still feel that women do not go see movies. And it, you know, I think Nola Dargis wrote about this, that it's almost like a vicious cycle. You know, perhaps women aren't going to see movies because they're not so into the movies that are on the market right now, and if that changes, then maybe more women will go see movies. But you know, part of it I think is sort of the girlfriend theory, which is that if you are a man who wants to go see whatever action movie, your girlfriend is obliging to come along, and if you're a woman who wants to go see a new whatever romantic comedy or whatever, you know, which is sadly the only option mostly for female-driven movies, then your boyfriend is like, oh, why don't you take one of your friends? And so they're not necessarily going to see those films.
I went to a women's college because I didn't feel like I want to have to raise my voice in classrooms to fight over the boys. I got to a point I didn't even feel like I want to make that effort. Why should I? So I went to a school, also my English wasn't very good back then. But, so I went to a school where I felt like we're on the same page, you know. It wasn't that I was afraid of men or anything. I do feel like, I went to film school at NYU, and I do feel like we need some kind of nurturing environment, not that because women are weaker, but we just have a different way of communicating. And when you're in a room with a bunch of boys and they're just rowdy and they're going at it, and I don't want to feel like I have to. Some women might feel like they want to do that, but I don't want to feel like I have to make that extra effort that's now me to make my voice heard. And our generation, a lot of us weren't raised to be like that, like boys were, you know. So I find a lot of comfort in my peers. Not less a female mentor, but more, most of my mentors are male too, except actually that's not true. All the organizations like Sundance and, you know, IFP, Film Independent, and San Francisco Film Society, these are very strong women who are or our mentors.
Absolutely, yeah.
But our peers, our fellow female filmmakers we met along the way, these are like my sisters. Having them around is great.